Hey there and welcome back to Sims Sunday. My name is Pete and this is the series where we try to complete The Sims 3. Now, last week's episode was a bit slow and we haven't really progressed in terms of completing the handiness skill with Pete, so in this episode we're going to change that. Pete has collected enough lifetime happiness points so that we can now, once again, purchase the Midlife Crisis lifetime reward. This allows us to reselect our traits, and for a second I thought about getting rid of Schmoozer, but I think family oriented is even less useful at this point, so let's get rid of that. We will then replace it with Technophobe, and this allows us to break electrical objects at will. It does not interfere with the handy trait, so we can still reap the benefits of that when we start the repairs. And with Pete now awake, we will promptly test out his new abilities and have him start sabotaging the TV. Meanwhile, Ayesha is also already well rested, and she will start her day with a quick round of reading her medical journal. That will get her research and thus her job performance up, which then pretty much guarantees another promotion. A few moments later, Patrick is also awake, and for him, at least for the moment, we have to focus less on skills or school performance and instead prioritize getting him something to eat. And lovely, you can hear and see it, Pete has successfully broken the TV. He will now go and sabotage the computer as well and then begin the repairs. Meanwhile, Patrick shovels down the last pieces of cake for breakfast and can now clean that up. Oh, and here we get the info that Pete has failed to sabotage the computer. That can actually happen. Sabotage is not a 100% guarantee at breaking things, and from what I gathered, the TV is actually easier to break than the computer. So while Patrick is now taking out the trash, Pete can get at least one more electrical repair under his belt and fix the TV. And we jump right over to Ayesha, who has finished her journal and will now send a few of the collected items from the last episodes to be refined. I am still unsure as to whether or not I want her to fully complete the collecting skill. I think we started a little late for that, and for the moment we are still only focused on metals, gems and rocks, and we haven't even touched beetles or butterflies. So we will probably tackle that in its fullest with somebody else. Pete has repaired the TV, wonderful, and Pete and his son Patrick can now have a little talk. That fulfills a wish for both of them, and to pass the time until it is 6 o'clock and Patrick's curfew ends, we can have them play a little bit of tag. While they're running out, we can see that Paul has also woken up and has begun work on another small painting. I am planning to grab the Brushmaster challenge today so that we can paint faster and finally start working on the big ones. On top of the screen you should also be able to see Ayesha has started collecting again, and that is now some gold. Very nice. While Patrick is spending the early morning hours fishing, the carpool for Pete has arrived. Pete is still busy trying to break the computer, but today is his first and only day of work for the week. And we can see his sabotage plans have failed once again, so let's send Pete the astronaut off to work now. He will suck up to his superior for a few hours because that is an area of his work performance that definitely needs improvement, but thanks to keeping the Schmoozer trait I'm pretty sure we will max that out soon. Then we get reminded that it is almost Paul's birthday, so very likely in the next episode we will have another full-blown adult in our household. Time to get a job then as well. I'm very excited to see where things lead us then. Alright, Paul has finished another painting, finally cracking the 200 simoleon mark, and with just a few minutes remaining until the school bus arrives, we can already send him off to school. This time with normal effort, our fun bar is filled, we have made a few friends already, we might as well try and become an honor roll student. Patrick can also stop fishing and go to school for the very first time in his life, and I have set him to normal effort here, but just a few seconds after we send Ayesha to work hard at the hospital, I changed Patrick back to meet new friends. I think early on that's equally important. Now with everyone at work, let's not forget it's Monday, which means it's once again time to collect money. Now as you can see here, we cannot collect money from the 2 lakes we bought, at least not yet. That is partly my fault, because I forgot that we need to upgrade those beforehand. And the game also tells us in great detail how much money we need to spend to make that upgrade, so I think it's time to get creative in Crystal Springs. Now we need to spend roughly 1,300 simoleons to upgrade this thing, and at this point I don't want to spend much more. So let's start with the telescope. I would have loved to put that on a small hill there, but there was no space to do so. So now we have 700 and a bit left, so let's build a small playground. Alright, and a slide next to it. Okay, as you can see, I've tried my best to spice that up a bit, and now we can spend the rest of the money on trees. And that should do it. Okay, going back into the upgrade requirements, it still shows the lot value below 10,000. So let's hop back in, plant another tree. And lovely, the Crystal Springs venue can now be opened for business, which means next week we can start collecting money here as well. And with Crystal Springs taken care of, let's now have a look at what we need to do in Stony Falls. Okay, a bit over 2,000 simoleons to spend here. Let's start with some picnic tables. We can also add a grill. Actually, let's add 2. As you can see, I have added a trash can and made the whole thing look a bit more pleasant. Now let's add a couple of torches as light sources. And this is what it should look like at night. Very nice. And then in the back here, and this took a while, I decided to add a fire pit. However, arranging the chairs around that was a bit of a pain, as you can see on screen right now. But I finally managed to put everything in place. I worked a bit on the terrain as well. And then once again, let's spend the rest of the money on trees and see if that's enough. Okay, apparently again there are a few hundred simoleons missing, so let's pop in 2 more trees. And wonderful, we can now start collecting money from Stony Falls as well. Then shortly after, this opportunity popped up for Pete. Have him participate in a study at the science facility to earn some money. I think we already did one of those, but nonetheless, let's take it. Then with Ayesha, we can see that her work performance meter has filled to the maximum. She will get a promotion, so let's have her watch TV for the next 1.5 hours. That should certainly help her mood. Over at school, we get an opportunity for Patrick, a research project at the supermarket in exchange for school performance. We don't necessarily need that school performance boost, at least not now, and it is already easy enough to get to A grade level, but let's take this for now. Alright, school's over for Paul and work's over for Ayesha, and Paul will now go home to paint as we see Ayesha gets a nice bonus and the desired promotion. However, no time to celebrate that just yet. Reaching career level 8 fulfilled a wish for Ayesha. That means, while she begins collecting again, we are now over 75,000 lifetime happiness points, and we can finally buy the Teleportation Pad lifetime reward. That will then allow us to get the last remaining upgrade in the Handiness skill with Pete, and once he completes the Electrician challenge, we can then finally mark the Handiness skill as completed. And right on time, at 3 o'clock, Patrick's day at school comes to an end. He will now go home, grab a bite to eat, and then focus on fishing again. Meanwhile, Ayesha is still busy collecting, and look where we are. Doesn't that look familiar? I think it turned out quite nicely, even though I know some of you might disagree with my choice to put a playground there. But hey, all for the good of the children, right? Now, apparently someone has come home after school with Patrick. We will handle this the way we normally do and ignore her. And just as Patrick wants to open the fridge to grab a bite to eat, we get presented with this. He is getting romantically approached by a journalist. Should he brush her off or try to get her number? I think at least for Pete that choice is rather easy. Let's brush her off. And from what we can read here, that seems to have been the right choice. Pete now feels great about himself and has a few positive moodlets. In the meantime, Patrick has finished his self-made cake and will now head out to the lake to fish. Back over with Ayesha, she is still busy collecting, and if we have a look at the map, we have already emptied that whole side left of the road here, and all of this on the right here is still to come. And here it is, painting number 30 completed for Paul, a brilliant one at that, and that means we have now finally completed the Brushmaster challenge. Paul will now take a shower, and in the meantime we can hang the painting up on the wall inside. And that also fulfills his wish to decorate the home with 15 paintings and earns us 1000 lifetime happiness points. Lovely. With the first target in the painting skill reached now, let's shift his attention back to writing. Apart from the skill challenges, I would love to write one of each book. I might discover that this is too hard later, but for the moment it sure as hell can't hurt to try. So Paul will now start his first fiction novel. Those are rather short, so he might get this done today. Okay, and after hours at the lake and with his curfew rapidly approaching, let's send Patrick back home. He is getting tired and he also still has homework to do, so I think we should not leave him out here that much longer. Now, while Patrick has already headed home, Ayesha is still busy collecting outside. However, this right here was the last piece, at least for today, and we will now send her swimming. Ayesha still has an opportunity, as you might be able to see down below above her moodlets, and we will clear that in a few moments. And what did I say? Paul completes his novel in one day. It seems to have been established already as a hit, and his reward, a quick trip to the fridge and then a full night's sleep. And over at the local swimming pool, 300 simoleons more in our account and the opportunity completed. Ayesha has now been swimming, jogging and working out for 30 minutes each, and even though the cash reward is not too great, at this point we'll gladly take it. Back at home, Patrick finishes his homework and can now go to sleep, while Pete cleans up and then can also go to bed. And then just a few seconds later, Ayesha can also go to sleep, and we have 3/4 of our household neatly tucked in bed. Now let's switch over to Pete. And that is one hell of a payday here, over 6,000 simoleons for the day, plus a nice raise which also fulfills a wish, so a very successful day at work or in space, depending on how you want to look at it. But Pete is now incredibly tired, so he will now quickly head home, also go to bed, and we can jump ahead to the next morning. Okay, now I thought the first person up today would be Paul, but for some reason Pete decides to get up now, even though he's far away from being well rested, and he is now going to take a shower. Since his hygiene bar is approaching critical levels, we'll let him do that, but afterwards he will go back to sleep. Over at the computer, Paul starts another novel, this time a trashy one. Once again, rather short and should be finishable in one day. And a few seconds later, Patrick is awake. He will now try to take a shower, but of course that is blocked by Pete. So he can have breakfast first and shower after that. That's not much of a problem. In the meantime, Pete has filled his hygiene bar and can now go back to bed. And after cleaning up, Patrick can now do the same, apart from the going to bed part. Instead, he will go fishing for a few minutes until the school bus arrives. Ayesha's first duty after getting up is paying the bills and then grabbing the mail. Thanks to her promotion yesterday, her off day today turned into a work day, and I admit I noticed that way too late. Otherwise, I would have had her read the research journal much earlier. Now we can at least start it before the carpool arrives, but I doubt she will finish reading before she has to leave. Well, it's only 2 more promotions and we still have the work from home option, so I think we'll manage. Now, while we wait for school buses and carpools to arrive, let's quickly head into the family inventory where we can find the Teleportation Pad. We can place that outside to be upgraded by Pete, and apparently that also pushed us over the limit. Our household is now worth more than 300,000 simoleons, and that fulfills a wish for both Pete and Ayesha. Alright, the school bus has arrived, so it's time for our young fisherman to stop with his favorite hobby and get him to school. Same thing goes for Paul, who almost finished to write an entire novel before school. And like I said, Ayesha will not finish her medical journal here. Even if she had finished it, I would have remained doubtful that she would be able to grab the promotion. Her work hours are simply not that long. At school, Patrick will be set to meet new friends, Paul to normal effort, and Ayesha as usual to work hard. Okay, that went fast. The opportunity for Patrick already expired. It's not like we desperately needed this, but still a very limited time window for completion. And speaking of opportunities, just shortly after we get a nice one for Ayesha, reading a book for both improved career performance and an improved relationship with our boss. I think we will save that until we reach career level 9. The next time we will go to work we will get a promotion anyway, so reading this beforehand would be kind of a waste. Then with Pete we still need to repair 4 electrical objects, so let's break some stuff. Alright, wonderful, that is a broken TV. Let's see if we can also manage to finally destroy the computer. Alright, awesome. This is now broken as well. We can now make 2 quick repairs and then repeat the entire process. And that's number 1. And number 2. Pete, if you would, one more round please. While Pete is at home busy destroying electrical equipment, we can see Ayesha's workday come to an end, and a look at the performance meter tells us she's not quite there yet, but if she works just like today, a promotion is definitely guaranteed next time. 1000 simoleons, very nice, and I quickly skipped that, but Paul has made it to honor roll, and that gives him a very nice positive moodlet for the next 24 hours. Back at home he will now begin his very first large painting, and Pete, after successfully breaking the TV, tries his luck again on the computer. Ayesha has also made it home, and she will now send gems and metals away to be cut or smelted respectively. And that wish that just got fulfilled was Patrick reaching an A in school. Wonderful. Not so wonderful is the fact that Pete has once again failed in breaking the computer. I think while Ayesha grabs something to eat, we will stick to the TV for the time being. And another opportunity has squeezed itself in there. A chess match for Ayesha, and if we win we get some money. I have faith that with the rank of a chess grandmaster she's up for the task. And just a few seconds later Pete completes the repair. 1 more to go and we finally have the Electrician challenge mastered. And like I said, let's stick to the TV and break it again. In the meantime, Ayesha will read the rest of her medical journal. After school I have sent Patrick to fish, this time however in the park in the middle of town. There are a few other fish available here and I have hopes that he can catch 1 or 2 of them. One last success, the TV is completely broken again, so let's go for the final repair. Wonderful, and what a journey it has been. We finally get the Electrician skill challenge, that is the last skill challenge in the Handiness skill, and now there is only one thing left to do before we can mark that skill off as completed. And that one thing is right here outside. Let's upgrade the Teleportation Pad. Alright, Ayesha has finished reading her medical journal. She will now go outside and grab the mail. That is another book and therefore can go straight to its author, and then Ayesha can leave and continue to collect. And there it is, Paul's first large painting, valued at over 500 simoleons and completed in just a few hours. Because as a child Patrick can apparently not take care of the plants in the garden, Paul now has to tend to them. In the meantime we can hang the picture up back here. Out on town, Ayesha is still busy collecting, and we can have a quick look at her skill journal. The collecting skill is not one of the official skills in the game, but even back in episode 1 I said very clearly that I wanted to find all the things that can be collected, and as you can see here, at least for the gems and metals we are on track. We have also analyzed 2/3 of all space rocks, but the beetles and butterflies section so far has remained untouched. Back at home, Paul will now wrap up the last pages of his novel, while after a day at the lake, Patrick is getting quite hungry, and once again he still has homework to do, so let's send him home now. And back at home, Paul finishes his novel, and with newfound motivation from being an honor roll student, he will now for a change also focus on his homework. A few moments later, he's joined by Patrick and his muffin, who after some cleanup then also switches to homework. Alright, homework taken care of, Paul will now start another book, however just to fulfill a wish. A look at his needs tells us that there are a few more pressing issues, for example a good refreshing shower. And as Paul finishes that shower, Patrick completes his homework, so Patrick can now relieve himself in the bathroom while Paul grabs a bite to eat. And then, after he's done in the bathroom, Patrick will be the first one to go to bed for today. Alright, ladies and gentlemen, the final upgrade has been completed. After an enormous amount of tedious work, we have now completed everything there is to do in the Handiness skill, even though the skill journal tells us that we have only completed 81% of all upgrades. However, if we scroll down the list here, you can very clearly see that we have done all of this at least once. Auto light, auto water, boost channels, we have changed the fire color and the custom doorbell sound. We have upgraded the microwave, we have made the fireplace fireproof, we have improved meal quality, speakers, crushing and graphics, we have improved the memory of the food replicator, which we then sold again. Just a few seconds ago we finished a perfect teleportation upgrade, we have applied even 2 self-cleaning upgrades, we made the dishwasher silent running, we applied the unbreakable upgrade, and we have wired the house with speakers. Now, just to be safe, I wanted to make sure that the percentage did not go up if we applied the unbreakable upgrade on something that we have not made unbreakable yet. So after a quick slice of cake, I tried it on the TV. We have never made the TV unbreakable before, so technically, if you need to apply the upgrade on every possible object for this to be 100%, the percentage should go up after the upgrade. In the meantime, Ayesha has made it home and will now go straight to bed, just like both of her sons have already done. Then, just a few seconds before the upgrade is completed, let's have a look at the skill journal one last time. It says right here 81% of upgrades are completed. And this right here is now the TV unbreakable. And a look at the skill journal, still 81%. And with that result we can safely say Pete Complete has finally mastered the handiness skill. Now, what might cause this? I do not have expansions installed, but I have a feeling that this list includes upgrades on objects that are added by expansions. Since due to the lack of expansions, those are impossible for us to upgrade, I think we've done all we can. Let's mark that off as completed. And to bring a rather long but equally successful episode to its well-deserved end, Pete will clean up the kitchen area for a few moments, then head to bed, and we can make the cut. And next time we will likely start life as an adult with Paul, and I definitely look forward to that. Until then, thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time. Cheers.